very hard to comprehend it because in 15 years it's hard to comprehend that happening. To all the countries all over the world via satellite. It's very difficult to comprehend. A live concert, to me, is exciting because of all the electricity that's generated in the crowd and on stage. But it's my favorite part of the business, is a live concert.
How do you pace yourself?
Sir?
How do you pace yourself?
You mean physically, vocally, or?
So you are up when you need to be up.
I just, I exercise every day. I vocalize every day. I practice if I'm working or not. So I just try to stay in shape all the time. Vocally and mentally.
Which is harder?
Well, both is tough, yeah. You got to work at them, but I don't mind it, It's worth it.
NBC Wednesday Mystery Movie will not be seen tonight, but will return in 2 weeks at its regular time.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
Welcome back, everybody. Heels and Quads Media here on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and eventually on all podcast platforms. If this is your first time here, I'm Tommy, and joining me tonight is not my usual co-host of Heels and Quads, not my usual co-host of Who Pops Your Culture, not any of my co-hosts from Riding the Pine, but my co-host tonight is one of my dearest, oldest, longest friendship, one of my oldest friends in the world, traveled with me when I impersonated Elvis, tribute artist, whatever. But Jimmy Steger is here with me tonight from the Guitar Pirates podcast. So this isn't his first rodeo. It's his first time here. It's the first time we've ever done a podcast together or YouTube or whatever. But I want to talk about something before I get to Jimmy, because I want him to talk about his podcast as well, so everybody can go subscribe and like that. But the amount of new subscriptions we've had to the YouTube channel has been overwhelming. Like, I have sent pictures to Muda and Levi nonstop about how many new subscribers we have. So last time we did a live stream, which was 2 weeks ago, or no, it was last Monday. Sorry, not even then. We were at 299 on YouTube when we went live. Right now, we're at 348. So that's big movement in a little over a week. So thank you for subscribing. The YouTube Shorts has inspired me, depending on how many views this does. If it does well, and I hope it does, I'm going to try to do at least one Elvis video a month or live stream or whatever. Maybe do album reviews or something. But anyways, enough about the channel, enough about my blabbering. Jimmy, tell me about Guitar Pirates, because I know it's you and Josh Jonesy, as he's affectionately known in the circle of friends. But I've known Josh since 6th grade, and I've known you since 6th grade or 7th grade. Do you remember?
6th grade.
It was 6th grade. Oh shit!
So right after Owen Hart.
Owen Hart
died. Like literally, we were sitting next to each other in lunch.
That was my first year here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've known you since I've known you for 20 years, 21 years, something
It
like
was
that.
actually it was right around that time, or it was right after you and your sister wrecked right down the road at the pump
Oh
by my
yeah,
house.
yeah. Yeah, that
So
was wild.
it's been a minute. It's been a long time.
Yeah, man. So thinking about that, if we had a baby when we met, that baby would be old enough to drink now.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyways, tell me about Guitar Pirates. What do you guys talk about? I mean, I know I subscribe, I listen, because I've been affectionately known as the Podfather over there for a while.
Yes. You and Podfather.
And I've been Beard of the Week, or
Yes,
Beard
you
of the
have.
Month, whatever it was.
Which we haven't done that in a long time, because after a while it's like, how many more I don't know how many more beers you know what I mean? Like, you get in 119 episodes, you're like, all right, I don't know how many more beards we can if one pops up, we'll go ahead.
Well, speaking of beards, you just had a mishap with yours, because
I had a major mishap.
Dude, your beard was looking awesome, and
I even trimmed it. I spent an hour trimming it, and I did the age-old thing that all us guys do. Let me do one more pass.
Yep.
I feel that hair on the top of my lip is what I felt, and I was like, let me do one more pass. Well, I have my glasses off, I can't see. The head was off of it. Whoop, straight up the center. Jeez. So that hour of work for nothing. But
that's usually what happens, because the last time it happened to me, I felt naked.
Oh, dude. I was just lucky I had a chin.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and that's why I started growing a beard, really, is because, it's like I want to hide this, little extra patch here I've got. So, but I'm losing weight now. I've lost 27 pounds in like 2 months. So I'm doing good.
And I've gained 40 pounds.
Holy crap.
remember how skinny I was? I'm 184 pounds right now.
Well, and we'll talk about it, but if we go back on the road, I've got to be in fighting shape. So I'm trying right now. I'm at 197. I'm trying to get, I would like to be 150, but I'll be honest and say my goal is 175. If I can get down to 175, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But I've put a hold on drinking for a while. I have not drank in 12 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't drank in 2 years.
Right. Yeah. You're not known to be a drinker. Every once in a while, but not very often.
But that Jaeger, though, Jaeger's my kryptonite. I will drink Jaeger, but I have to stay away from it.
Amanda likes it too, but it's once in a while she gets that. So anyways, back to Guitar Pirates. So what made you guys start a podcast? And I mean, obviously I know you guys both play, and he's always in bands and stuff. So
yeah, well, it all started because it was basically our messages back and forth about guitars, and it was all about guitars.
Right.
And then when I started growing my beard, then it was back and forth about beards, and then we just decided to put it all into one show and do a beard and guitar show and miscellaneous music stuff. I mean, it's not just about guitars, but
right.
It focused, most of it is on guitars, but it'll go music wise.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys, if a band comes out that you guys like, or even not necessarily that you don't like, but not like one of your favorites. If somebody puts out an album, you'll talk about it, or if somebody goes on tour, you talk about it and stuff like that.
And we don't like to. We try to keep it as positive as possible.
Yes.
We don't. Like, we used to always think back in the day, I hate that band, don't listen to them. Like, why would you listen to that band? And now it's more like, let's just let people listen to what they want to listen to. I respectfully will let you listen to it, even if I don't like it. But Bono, I don't like Bono. I've never liked Bono.
Yeah, I'm not a big U2 guy either.
I respect the Edge, but I do not like Bono.
Yeah.
Anybody that spends $125,000 to send their head to Ireland, I don't want to talk to you. Get out of here. You spent $125,000 on the hat. I don't want to talk to you.
And I've never been a really like a real fan of theirs, or anyways, but like, I mean, a couple of their hits, I don't mind. I'll sing it. Like the song from Batman Forever. I've talked about it on Who Popped Your Culture. I always liked that song, and like, Joshua Tree, whatever. It's a great album, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sit and listen to it. What really turned me off though is when they put their new album on Apple Music or iTunes and it automatically downloaded to your phone.
Oh,
And I was like, who bought a U2 album on my phone?
right.
I was like, that wasn't me, I swear. And I was like
I
checking
couldn't
my
have-
bank account and everything.
That's something. See, I have Apple Music. I never looked. I better go through there.
I think they eventually found a way to get it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have been.
And we will talk about Elvis, but we're just kind of catching up for a minute. So just
But
kind of
yeah,
tipping our
like,
toes in.
just we've had some interviews, but it's harder to get, as you know, it's hard to get unless you pay people to get like well-known people. I mean, Rudy Sarzo, I mean,
That was
good
awesome.
That's
I'd love to talk to Rudy.
I've never been more you could get him easy. He's awesome, dude. I've never been more starstruck as far as like knowing somebody that was best friends with Randy Rhoads and his face pops on there and you're all cocky like, I got this. And then as soon as his face is there, you're like, ugh,
yep.
I say.
Your cool factor goes down real quick.
Well, especially I tried to make a thing about Lemmy and all that, and I forgot that they toured with Lemmy, and I'm like, oh man. I was like, so did you meet Lemmy? He's like, yeah, we toured with Lemmy. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You were on that tour. Sorry.
Whoopsie daisy.
Open mouth, insert foot. All right.
Yep.
But it's, and then Greg Martin from Kentucky Headhunters, guitar player, awesome dude. I mean, it's just right now it's just basically just talking music, and we did a little. Well, I mean,
like you said, it's hard to get interviews, and we interviewed Andy LaRock, the guitar player for King Diamond, and like it was awesome. But after that, I was just like, we need to just kind of focus on growing the channel before we bring anybody else on. And it got picked up by Blabbermouth, like our interview and stuff. And that was last September. And that's really what started our channel growing so much, because we really didn't do a lot of YouTube until because it was so hard to get really good internet where you could stream and not have to worry about it being so choppy. So I was doing a lot of editing, and there were days like with my internet that was so bad, it would take me a full 24 hours to edit a whole video and get it uploaded.
Especially where you live. I mean,
yeah. But now we have that, fiber optic internet, and it's like, let's do it live, baby.
Isn't that crazy? You live out in the sticks, and I still have fiber optic internet. They're still putting that stuff in town.
That's crazy, dude. I can't believe it. So anyways, a couple of things I want to talk about. Obviously, we're going to share some stories of, our travels, shows I did, and Jimmy was a big part of it. I couldn't have done it without him, honestly. I did want to talk about real quick the 50th anniversary of this album. This is the original, obviously. I haven't got the updated version. And the 50th anniversary is a 2 LP vinyl set. But the big one is the CD/Blu-ray set, because Aloha's never been released on Blu-ray before. I have the in 2004, I want to say it came out, the white box set with the way on. Remember that? And the gold lettering. Jimmy watched all the Elvis with me.
We watched everything, bootleg, everything.
And this was way before YouTube. Like, we were watching this stuff. And we had the audio bootlegs too. But the box set's already sold out on Walmart and Target. I linked the Amazon link below. So if you want to pick it up. But I've listened to it. I've listened to the album version, and it sounds amazing. The reviews I've read on the Blu-ray, it's just the DVD upscaled. Just, a smidge. Like, I don't even know if you can really tell a difference. I still want it because it comes with a book and all that stuff. And it's only like $50. And you get, I think it's 3 CDs, because you get the rehearsal, the main show, and then you get all the like the insert videos that he did after the concert. But I watched the alternate Aloha, which is the rehearsal, and I watched the main show today before we did this because they did a panel. It's Elvis week, obviously. Today's the 46th anniversary of the passing of the king. And so they live streamed it from Graceland, and it was a panel, and they were talking all about it. So it was the producers. They were talking about how, with a live album, it's a little harder to remix it because he's moving around on stage and his rings clank on the mic. And,
Right.
so even when you isolate the vocals, you still pick up drums or bass or guitar or piano, depending on where he's at on the stage. It was really cool to look into it. And they played a couple of clips of the isolated vocals, and then they'd play the whole song. And this is all, in front of a crowd. And obviously, Elvis has been gone for 46 years and 50th anniversary of Aloha from Hawaii. And, everything that I've read online in the last week is like Aloha was Elvis's last hurrah. That was like the last time you saw him with the slim waist, even though he's in the big jumpsuit with all the bedazzling going on, all the stones and gems. And I know you feel the same way I do. Is I prefer, 68 and on, obviously, but that 74 to 77 Elvis,
Yeah.
dude, the suits were more outlandish, and
More
his
operatic.
voice was unstoppable. And everybody, like, even today, I put out a short, and it was of just the 77 concert. So I took 2 hours of footage and put it into 1 minute. It's hard. It's hard to do. It took hours to do that.
Even his Unchained Melody, from what that 77, like May,
and that
77?
wasn't even on the actual special. That was filmed, but they didn't use it because that show, the first show they recorded, I can't remember if it was Rapid City or Omaha, but that show, they basically didn't use any of it because they had so many audio problems. So they just kind of threw it out. By the end of the show, when he did Unchained Melody, it was so improved that I can't believe that they didn't use that in the actual concert.
Right.
But it was only 50 minutes long, the actual CBS special. But I love 77 Elvis. I know a lot of people, like I was gonna say, they commented on that short and were like, he was so drugged up and blah blah blah. And yeah, I get that. And yeah, it sucks. And it, obviously I wish none of that never would have happened, but unfortunately it did. And my problem with 77, the special, is it's never been officially released. Like I own it on a bootleg.
I was about to say that's the bootleg we were talking about.
But like it sucks because I think, and like only like people really only when you see it posted online, it's always Unchained Melody. That's the only clip you really ever see. And like I was going through it, I had to watch it and get just the right, like try to be like 2 to 4 seconds for each song to make it fit in a minute, and to not get the swats from YouTube for infringing on a full song.
Oh, yeah.
But like Unchained Melody is the only song you ever hear. And I was listening, and when he does How Great Thou Art on that 77 special, the sustain in that song and Hurt, obviously, that's one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking about this, and we can kind of just blend it all together at this point because I'm all over the place. I went from talking about Aloha to 77, but I remember practicing before I'd even really started doing shows. And I remember one time I sang Hurt like 16 times in a row because I cracked. And I was like, I'm not going to do that again. So I just kept doing it over and over and over. And like, I remember when we were doing the Branson shows, because I was supposed to have my own show in Branson.
You did,
that didn't work out so good. Anyways, I won a contest in Branson, supposed to get my own theater and all that. And we thought we we were in. We were,
dude.
you were gonna
That
quit,
ride home?
You were gonna quit your job. I
Yeah.
mean, we were gonna make money.
We
Because we were
was
gonna be
there.
doing like 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
Like we could have moved to Branson or freaking Branson. Sorry, I forget this is an Elvis show. Excuse me. But I mean, the king.
Hey, just do what
didn't
Elvis
drop
did.
enough
Start
bombs.
singing gospel, brother. Every time he went to swear.
Well, I John is
Starts with the
almighty
gospel.
number. We're moving way up.
He wiped the slate clean, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Brent, that Owens. Every time I go by Owens Theater, it just those memories flood back, dude.
Yeah. Old
'Cause they were-
downtown, historic downtown Branson. If anybody ever been to Branson.
And just to give you an idea, Barry Williams had a show there. So
Yeah. Of Brady
once he
Bunch
doesn't
fame.
anymore, but it's the fact that Barry Williams had a show at the theater that Tommy rightfully won.
Yeah.
And then whenever we went on to get all the guidelines to the show, the website was just magically gone.
Yeah, and I finally got the guy's email and emailed him. And I was like, this isn't right, what's going on? And because he was supposed to retire. I'm not going to say his name. I do know his whereabouts now, and he is still kind of doing Elvis. It's kind of funny, but he was going to retire, and he was looking for somebody to take over the theater. And so I emailed him and I said, hey man, what's going on with the gig? And he's like, oh, I decided not to retire. And I was like, ugh. So I had a lawyer friend, and I was like, can you look into this for me? And she emailed him, and basically there was nothing we could do. And so, because there was no real contract signed or anything like that, even though it was advertised, which I feel like that's contract enough for litigation. But whatever. I mean, it all worked out. We had fun after that. And I know you wanted to tell a story about a Valentine's Day show I did at a certain place that I vowed after I would never do another one, and I never did. I'll let you tell the story.
The Valentine's Day, they all run together. You got to.
That was the nursing home,
the Pine Lane.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because I know there's 2 that run together, and that's Pine Lane and that's the Moose Lodge.
Oh yeah,
because both crazy. That's where the craziest women.
I got paid a lot more for the Moose Lodge.
Well, I know, but that's where we both. That's where we both. I got attacked. Remember at Moose Lodge, that lady ripped my shirt off. But we'll go back to Pine Lane.
Yeah.
So Pine Lane was a nursing home. It was awesome. It really was.
Nice establishment.
Nice establishment. Everybody, for the most part, was just enjoying themselves. Well, one lady thought Tommy was Elvis, and we're not lying. She thought he was Elvis. She was screaming. They had to restrain
and I'm only
her.
7 to 8 inches shorter than him. So
yeah, but it's like they had to restrain this poor lady and take her
so
away.
bad. I'm in the middle of singing, and I'm like, do I stop? Like, do I tell him?
She's
to,
screaming,
like, back off of her?
Elvis, 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 and I'm standing there on the side of stage, like
they're like taking her out of the double doors and everything, like pulling her from.
I'm
the
like,
back.
what do we
I'm
do?
Like, what am I supposed to do? I felt so bad for her
because I had the scarves in my hand. I'm like, I need to go give her one.
Yeah,
but it's like that's your job,
scarf, right?
It's like I'm just a stage manager here. Like, what do I do?
Guilt by association.
You don't want a stage manager to give it. You want you to give them the scarves. That's the whole point.
I mean, I guess you could have like wiped a little sweat off.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like you need to wipe your sweat and give it to them. Like that's how it goes. But man, that vividly, her screaming will never leave you or my heads ever.
And
I mean, it's been
when we were leaving, I was like, I will never put my parents in a home.
Yeah, no.
They can live with me forever. Like, I will never put them in a home.
But remember,
maybe.
But I remember when we walked out, remember there was like 2 40-year-old gentlemen sitting in there, and we were confused, like, why are they here?
Yeah.
Because we thought they were just visitors. And then we found out that they were there, and we're like, why are they were perfectly fine. Like, I don't understand that one.
Yeah,
There
that was
been
weird.
Something weird, but yeah, the
something.
40-year-old gentleman. But they were singing, and I mean, in a whole, it was a great show. Everything went perfect.
The
as far
sound
as
was
the show.
good. Like
Yeah.
I had fun other than that one moment.
That one
'Cause-
moment was
But
awkward.
it wasn't bad. It was just
It was not.
it
No,
was
no, no.
uncomfortable. It was awkward. I felt bad. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I was supposed to stop or just keep going. Like I felt, and like I had to look that way because she's, like you said, she's screaming. Like,
Screaming. Yeah.
like I don't want to say a crazy person, but like a old lady would scream in a nursing home. Like she sounded like she was getting beaten. And they were just they were just trying to get her out of the room because she was going crazy, and she kept coming up every like 5 seconds, and she was like on me, and like she was like, you can come back to my room, like I'm gonna marry you, we're gonna live together forever. And I'm like, what? Like it was but they came because they could hear her in the mic saying all that, and I'm like, okay, all right, baby, you know, okay. Thank you very much, you know, all that stuff. And I'm like, it was just, that was too much. Other than like the memory of her screaming and that knowing I did the show, I'd completely blocked that out, like her hugging on me and like talking to me. It came as we're talking about the story.
Well, as you know, like my job, I got to think about the guitar flip. I've got to get the scarves. I got to make sure everything's going good. And now I'm like puzzled, like, how do I help him? I don't know what to do. What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, because we were all, me and you were just, we did our job. Everybody knew who we were. We went in, did our stuff, and it was always, everything went without a hitch. Besides the 2 shows were like, we'll get into the Moose Lodge here in a second, because that's the one that
Muda popping in. Who is this lady? You're mine, Tommy. I'm all yours, Muda. And my wife,
but the Moose Lodge is the best one ever, because I remember you were looking for me, and you see me dancing with.
Was this was this on the break after I finished, and the lady was like, "Oh no, you didn't start till a half hour late, so you have to do an extra half hour."
Yeah, so we just redid the whole set. Remember?
Well, no, what happened? No, what happened was I ended up just pulling up the screen because I brought my whole computer.
Yeah.
And I just started basically doing karaoke. I was like, okay, whatever you guys want, just yell it out and I'll do it. And I did. I mean, I did songs that I never did before that night. And it was fun. I even did a 50s set, and I'd never done that before.
Yeah. Well, the best part though
was a weird show.
That was a weird show because I remember I was standing there and I seen that 80-year-old woman sitting by herself. So I went over and I danced with her, remember?
Yeah.
We were all getting a little drunk, all of us.
Yeah, I got free beers.
Them old people knew how to. Those people know how to go.
They throw down at the Moose. Shout out to the Moose Lodge, Mountain Home, Arkansas.
My favorite part of that whole show is I'm standing there, and that's whenever I had that really nice Miami Vice shirt on.
Yep.
And you're sitting there looking at me, and that lady, remember, she ripped my shirt open, and I just look at you, and you were like, "Oh, are you gonna take her home, Jimmy?"
Again, guilt association.
Oh man,
that show was what? That was the 3-hour one, right?
Yeah, that was the big one. Because remember, you would sing a song, and then they would request a song that you would just sing.
Yeah.
Like literally, you just sing it, and then you were like, "Anybody want another song?" And you're like, "Hound Dog." You're like, "We just did
we did that one already." Yeah,
roll it again.
Let's do it again.
Roll it again. Bring it around. But those are the 2, like, as far as anything weird happening. Everything else went out that hit. Well,
our trip to Alabama was pretty weird.
Yeah, that dude, man. You tell that one.
Ugh. Okay, so this was back. MySpace was around back then, kids. I got a message from the student. He was like, "Hey, I'm putting together a cancer benefit, and it's going to be an Elvis show." And he's like, "You're really good, and we would love to have you here." And I was like, "Cool, yeah. Where are you at?" And he said, "Alabama." And I was like, "That's kind of a trek." Because I mean, I just kind of really got into it around that time. That was one of the first, ones. I would have been 19 then. Yeah. 19 or 20. And the guy was like, yeah, so it's for charity, obviously, so I can't pay you. And I was like, okay, well, I can't afford to come all the way to Alabama and, gas, food, hotel. And he's like, well, the hotel room's comped. So you have a hotel room. I said, okay, great. And I said, but there's still the problem of gas and food. And, obviously, I have to bring a couple of people with me. So he was like, okay, I will pay for your gas personally. It doesn't come out of the show. I will pay for your gas personally, and I will make sure that you guys get taken care of as far as food goes. So I'm like, okay, great deal. Asked Jimmy. Jimmy's in. And then our friend Michael came with us. And the ride down was awesome. We had a great time. It was fun. We took Michael's T-Bird then, didn't we?
Yeah, T-Bird, yep.
Yeah. And was this before? That was after we wrecked it in Memphis.
Yeah, that was after.
I think because he had the bra on it, I think, when we went to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to Alabama, ride's good, fun times. We're laughing, joking around. Felt like Elvis in the 50s when they used to drive everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And get there, and we're supposed to meet. We met at Shoney's, right?
Yeah, something like it's Shoney's or Denny's.
We met at the hotel. That's right. We met at the hotel. We met in the lobby. They got us checked in. We went up to our room, changed, and went back down to the lobby. And it was kind of like a happy hour kind of thing going on. Everybody's hanging out. And then went to Shoney's for dinner, the buffet, and then went back to the hotel, and we're all hanging out in the lobby. And then they're like, hey, we're going to go up to the suite and hang out in there. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. I didn't expect Sherrill Nielsen to be there.
Right.
So we're sitting there for 2 hours probably. And
Something
Cheryl's
like
just playing piano and singing. And some of the guys are singing because I think there was like 16 other guys, 15 or 16 other guys. And Cheryl's playing piano and singing. And, I'm just like, this is like unreal. Like I hadn't met any of Elvis's, singers or band members or anything. So I was just blown away. And Jimmy keeps nudging me. He goes, go sing with him. Go sing with him. I'm like, I can't. And it's just, a room of, Elvis tribute guys and Sherrill and his wife and another singer they had with them.
Didn't they? That's the show that had the world's smallest Elvis, right? Was it that one? Or
I think
that
so.
One? I didn't know. I can't remember if it was that one or
Tunica.
Tunica. Okay, yeah,
might have been. I think it was Alabama. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Because I remember
it was weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a big head and thought that was the best thing since Elvis. And I was like, I'm not going on unless I can close the show. That's plain as because it started at like noon or 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going on early because I had a bad experience with a talent show in high school when I had to open the show and then found out there's another Elvis guy.
Oh, Peter.
Had no idea. And then sat there and pouted the whole show. Anyway, so I was like, I have to close the show. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure there's guys that have been doing it a lot longer than me, but I think I'm the best because I was a jerk. And that's how I was. There's a lot of guys out there that are way better than me. But anyways, so there was a guy that went on and closed after me, but he was pretty freaking good. And clearly had a lot more money than I did. But anyway, so yeah, we're hanging out up there. It's cool. We go back to our room, go to sleep, go to the show, and we're just hanging out. We're watching all these different guys and whatever. And I'm like, how many guys are gonna do like my entire set list? And surprisingly, like maybe 3 of my songs got
Right.
done the whole day because I'd picked some obscure stuff, but I'm like, this is like Elvis had played there in 55 or 56, and this is like it's all Elvis fans because it's for charity and they know it's an Elvis show. So it's all these diehard Elvis fans. There's Elvis stuff everywhere. Everybody's got tables and everything. And I'm getting ready to do my show, and somebody before me, I can't remember who it was. I think it was the guy from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Bigger guy.
Yeah.
Super nice. He came up and talked to us and everything. And I think he had Sherrill come up and do Spanish Eyes. I remember that. And then when he got done, Sherrill walked off the stage. And I was like, I'm going to ask him to sing Fairy Tale with me. Because I think that was the only thing in my set that was recorded during his time. So I walked over and I was like, hey, you know, I know you just sang with him and I know you've already done a set, but I would be honored if you would do it. And he goes, yeah, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I'm going to do Fairy Tale. And he was like, oh man, I haven't done that song in years. So he was all about it. And we did it. And I swear that was the best I ever sounded in my life, was on that. Because I still have the recording. I think that was the best I ever sounded. It's on YouTube. Type in Tommy Walter as Elvis on YouTube. You can find it.
I'm biased of the best ever.
That was the best ever.
Mr. Sherrill Nielsen. I'll pack up all my things and walk away. I don't want to hear another word you have to say. I've been waiting for so long, just found out there's something wrong, and nothing will get better if I stay. There's no need to explain anymore. I tried my best to love you, now I'm walking out the door. You used me, you deceived me, and you never seemed to need me. But I bet you won't forget me when I go. Seems things I've been lost in a dream, yeah, pretending that you care. And now I've opened up my eyes and found it's all been just a great big fairy tale. Yeah, I've been loving you so long, I don't think I'd even know how to forget you. Yeah, the way that things have been, I think I'm better off alone than to be with you. You don't love me, explain. There's no need explaining anymore. I tried my best to love you, now I'm walking out the door. Out the door. You used me, you deceived me, and you never seemed to need me. But I bet you won't forget me when I go. Seems I've been lost in a dream, yeah, pretending that you can. But now I've opened up my eyes and found it's all been just a great big fairy tale. Lost in a dream, pretending that you can. And now I've opened up my eyes and found it's all been just a great big fairy tale. Good job, Mickey.
I'm biased to that because nothing beats Calico Rock, but we'll get to that later.
Which time? The first time or the second time?
The time, not the one, not the
Not the Sherrill one?
experimental- Yeah, no, the
Okay,
the
so
one where we had
the
to
big
turn
one.
away people.
oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll get to that one later.
Yeah. So, anyways, like, you know, I didn't. After that, I was like, you know, thank you. It was an honor. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything you did, you know, musically, and you know, I appreciate your friendship with Elvis, and I just think it's really cool. And he's like, yeah, and few months go by, and I'm like, man, I got the itch to do like not like a broad tour, but like at least locally, like some smaller towns, here and there. But I did it really well. Like I mapped it out where it was enough miles where they could, and I changed the shows. And
Yeah.
originally I had scheduled 3 shows because remember I did the TV taping. Then we did Horseshoe Bend, this little town in Arkansas, and they have this awesome theater. I mean, that place was huge. And that was scheduled to be Sunday. It would have been May 12th it was the year I turned 21. It was that would have been the day before I turned 21. Would have been that day. But that show got canceled because they found out it was Mother's Day. And I didn't even think of that. I was like, oh crap. But at this point, I'd already emailed Brenda and had Sherrill booked. I had them booked to come to Arkansas on their bus. So I'm like, they're thinking they're getting 3 shows. So right away, as soon as I found out, I had to email her and be like, hey, it's 2 shows now. So I'm not going to be able to pay you as much. She's like, oh, still 2 shows is good. And so they got in that Thursday night. And they parked their bus, and me and Jimmy went over there to just kind of like meet them. And we took them out to dinner. Jimmy paid for dinner. We took them to where Jimmy used to work.
Yeah, Fred.
And it was great, just hanging out and talking. I was so I remember just being nervous, like, because I was still thinking about the shows that we got to do. It's cool to hang out, but I'm like, oh my god, like I have to be really good this weekend, like perfect.
And I had to be perfect because I had to run the track.
Yeah, you were doing the track. Yeah, you were doing the sound
and both shows.
Yeah, and that's no easy task, because you got to know, hey man, I'm gonna stop here. Hey, I'm gonna talk here. Hey, make sure, like, give me a cue when you start it because I gotta wait 8 seconds before the track starts. And then when a track starts, if anybody's ever even karaoke, when a track starts, I mean, imagine doing karaoke without the words. It's just the sound. And, you can rehearse. I mean, I rehearsed for years and I would rehearse the same song over and over and over. That's the only way you learn it. But when you hear it start, you have to start counting in your head. There has to be like some kind of distinction in the music that now's when I start singing, and it's a little easier with tracks than it would be with a live band, I guess, somewhat, as long as you practice it more and more. And that was another thing I wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about it after we talk about this. So anyways, the next day we meet up, we go back to the bus and we go for lunch, and then we go out to the theater for sound check, and I'm good with it. Everything's good. It was weird because I didn't really have like people that worked there except for one guy. Everybody else was just volunteers. So it was hard to be like, hey, I'm in the show. And, I am the show pretty much.
Right.
And what do we need to do? What do you guys need to know? And then it was like a whole thing about the sound. Like they had to, like, because you were off the stage behind the curtain, you would start the track. And then like the opening, CC Ryder, I do the, thing, and then I flip and then throw the guitar to you. By the way, Jimmy caught the guitar every single time. I still have that guitar.
I never dropped it once.
Never even, you got close one time, I remember, but never dropped it.
That Bull Shoals show was the farthest that you ever.
Oh yeah, it was
because I had to be right there for the music, and
that was also the first time I'd ever done a show with an intermission, which was super weird. Like going out into the lobby and like selling my CDs and autographing, like people want me to autograph actual Elvis CDs, which I thought was really weird. Like I didn't want to do it, but I was like, oh, I mean, if you really want me to, I will. And then like, I remember the end of that first night, like, I mean, the place was packed, sold out, dropping to my knee at the end and going, thank God. because I was like, I didn't expect it to sound that good. They had the video screens on the side. I mean, it was well done. For
Yeah.
only having one actual employee, it was really well done. We were downstairs. That was where the dressing room was, and Jimmy knows I am the world's biggest B word when it comes to when I'm getting ready. Like, I am cranky. Anybody talks to me, it gets in my head. I automatically start thinking something's wrong. So, like, I don't know what, 15 minutes before I went, or Sherrill was on, and I was like, because they did a set before the main set, and I was like, will you run out there and just look and see? And you came back in, you're like, dude, it's packed. I was like, yes, we did it. Because I was worried about paying them at that point too.
Well, that's where the story gets crazy.
It gets a little tricky.
Because the Calico Rock show, nobody showed up.
Yeah.
And that's whenever we don't have enough.
12 people, maybe.
Yeah, it's like, we don't have enough to pay you.
There was a tornado. We were sitting on the bus, and I was like, let's just cancel it. If you guys want to stay till tomorrow, maybe I can see if they can open it up tomorrow. We can do the show. And Cheryl's like, no, there's people here. You have to do the show. They came through all this, and he said some words, but he's like, you have to do it. They paid, they came, we'll figure it out. And I was like, dude, what do you think? I just have all this money in the bank that I can pay you what I'm supposed to be paying you tonight?
Right.
So do the show. It's good. It's really good. Did a lot of songs that I'd never done. Sherrill played piano. We did Softly As I Leave You with Sherrill playing the piano. It's awesome.
And then seeing El Sole Mio twice and live twice. Unbelievable.
It was so cool. Yeah. Because, I mean, his voice didn't change a beat. It was, I mean, you knew why he was one of Elvis's favorite singers. So
the funnest ride home of all time.
Finish the show. We have lived in this area for 20 plus years at that time.
I screwed up,
but yeah,
it was me. I screwed up.
This was 15 years ago, plus 15 and a half years ago. But yeah, so we took a wrong turn, and we ended up in even more BFE than we were already in.
The best part of it, he stops in the middle of the highway, looks me straight in the eye, and says, I'm not going a bleeping mile until you tell me where to go. And I said, go straight. And it worked out for us.
Yeah.
It brought us right back.
I was sweating bullets. And as we're pulling back into civilization, I start freaking crying because I'm like, I told
we don't have enough to pay. Well, also,
I don't have enough. And
it's not to pay. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, Tommy, we knew that going in tonight. She's like, nobody could show up. Obviously, you can't control the weather. She's like, don't worry about it. Consider it our birthday gift to you. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was like so relieved. I just wanted to freaking lose it. And then we pull back into where they were camped out in their bus, and we're sitting there talking and blah, blah, blah. And Sherrill gets a beer out of the fridge, and he's like, you want one? I was like, yeah. Getting a share of beer with one of 2 days before my legal drinking age is pretty freaking cool. And he told some stories, some that I'll never tell.
Then there's one story we can never tell.
One story in particular that I can't. I mean, my wife knows about it. I've told her, but other than that, me and Jimmy heard it.
I've never told anybody. Me and you, that goes to our grave because it went to his grave.
It was a wild story.
Yeah. But his best friend was Roy Orbison, which was cool.
Yeah. And he did a cover of Pretty Woman on his Furlough record.
Yeah.
That he signed for me that night before we left. And
is his museum still open over in, where is that, Sweden?
I don't know. I haven't looked in a long time, honestly. I just remember when I found out he passed, I lost it.
Yeah, me and you were.
I would put that in the top 5 drunkest I've ever been, because it because I wanted to do more shows with him, but
And we were going to,
yeah,
because
we
they
had a
loved
great
us.
time. Yeah,
They loved us.
it was like hanging out with like the coolest grandparents you could imagine.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and like I mean, I could have sat on that bus all night and listened to stories, but obviously, I have a little more respect for people than that.
One of my favorites is we walk into McDonald's and me and you were snickering and we kept poking at him like, why you got a fanny pack? We're making fun of him. He's
Yeah.
like, you want to know why I have this fanny pack? And he opened the fanny pack. We're like, oh, it was a gun. We're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
merch
never
money.
mind. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, we were making so much fun of him for his fanny pack, and he was just going right along with it. But then we found out why he had a fanny pack. We're like,
he
got
was
serious.
He was a total jokester too. I mean,
dude,
he cracked jokes, and like we're like, this guy he was in gospel quartets and stuff. We didn't know it was like this, but I mean, it was cool. And on the way to the shows, we'd listen to songs and stuff that maybe he hadn't done in a long time or whatever, and I had to get I would find like the alternate takes and stuff where you can just hear him and Elvis singing together. It was so cool.
But one of the best part of that whole thing is him talking about getting lost on tour once, and then we get lost on our little tour. Like,
and that's the story we can't tell.
No, I'm not. I know, but I was just saying, like, well, there's one more other one that we can't tell either.
The van that broke down on the side of the road.
Well,
and a certain king of rock and roll had to bail him out. That's as far as I'm going.
There's that one, and then there's the Conway Twitty story.
Oh yeah. Sherrill was cool, man, and like he was in Nashville, and Elvis would fly him to Memphis just to come sing at Graceland.
To be able to in that room too. Yeah, I can't imagine. Because
to have the Lisa Marie fly from Memphis to Nashville, pick you up and take you back in the same in less than 12 hours.
To go upstairs,
it's wild.
Not many people got to be upstairs while he was alive.
Yeah.
Man, rest in peace to Sherrill. What a great man, dude.
Yeah, man. He was cool. He was good people. I really, really appreciated him doing that because it made me feel like I was really good. And I mean, he told me I was really good. He on the record he signed for me.
What did we said it once and we'll say it a million times. If you were 6'1", we would have been touring the world.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
We would have been in Japan, all over the place.
We almost got. Well, remember we almost got the Legends in Myrtle Beach. We were so close.
Yeah,
you were pushing.
Mm-hmm.
It was close.
And then the same guy that did the Alabama thing almost had me a Vegas casino opening, and they ran out of money. That's what happened with that.
But he also told us we were going to Germany.
Right? Yeah,
we're going to open up the Clinton Library.
Yeah, he was a piece of work.
He got us on the fast track of our heads. Man,
if it wasn't for him, I would have never met Sherrill and
never. No.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that he made our heads so big.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Telling us all the stuff that he was going to do for us. He's going to sign us to this. Well, sign you. I was just the tour manager.
Yeah.
Sign this and that, and one great thing happened, and we couldn't.
Yeah, because I wasn't signing anything with that guy. Mm-hmm. He thought I was dumb as a box of rocks, and I was like, I don't think so, buddy.
Because on that way back, we just were looking at each other like, where have we heard this before?
Mm-hmm.
But man, let's go back to Calico. So the first show we did in Calico, there was an opener.
That's the show that's on my personal YouTube channel. So again, type in
that's my personal. It's the only show you really see me standing there on the side.
Yeah, and I tried to get a screenshot from YouTube I was gonna throw it in, and my sister was young, and it wasn't like everybody had an iPhone back then, so it was hard. It was shot on a what was that thing called? The little gray camera with the red Lens earlier, and we have a beard sponsor now. CopperJohnsBeard.com. Use code Heels and Quads and save 15% off your order. They've got everything. They've got oils. They've got balms. They've got combs. They've got shampoo, conditioners, soap. Everything you can think of that has to do with beards, they have it. CopperJohnsBeard.com. You can use the code. You can get a subscription. They can send it to your house every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, however you want to space that out. Or you can do a one-time order. We've had a few people already use the code, and I've seen it in the emails, and I love it. So if you're using it, keep using it. I love it. I use it every day. CopperJohnsBeard.com. And the kicker to that, what made them be a sponsor of the show, the owner just happens to be a New York Football Jets fan. So that's how that worked out.
So
this would have been January. The dates on the videos. It was right around the anniversary of Aloha.
Yeah, it was
So
close.
it was January 10th or something like that.
Because I know that's what you were going for.
Mm-hmm.
And it for us, so this little place, Calico
used
Rock
to be a church. Used to be a little church in Arkansas.
And I promise you this much. We've been in some creepy places. The place in West Plains was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
But
that was my final show.
But that backstage area at Calico Rock, we were just like, ugh, oh man, this is you felt like slumming it, but at least they let us move into the big room.
Right. Well, and the thing was the dressing room was right next to the public bathroom. Yeah. So here I am getting dressed. The door's wide open, and Jimmy's, dude, the door's open. I'm like, I don't care. I got to do a costume change in between sets. And it literally, I'm like, I'll be back in 3 minutes or whatever. It was like 2.5 minutes. I was back on. But yeah, you were talking earlier about we were turning people away. I had no idea. I mean, I could see obviously the whole place was full. They had, they had the church pews, right? Still in there.
Yeah. And then
those
they had the
were
door
full.
The door was open.
The door was open. The main door to the old church building, which they turned into a music venue. It was packed on the steps. There were chairs all along the sides of this place, both sides. There were people in the front. And like, if you watch the videos, like you can tell my sister's trying to get good video, but she keeps turning it and everything. And I did my best to try to edit it way back in the day. Right after it happened, I was trying to edit it, and I had to, like, every camera frame I had to turn. Right. There's a few I've missed, but I'll go back eventually. I want to re-edit it and try to like clean it up a little bit, put it in 4K and put it on here, see if it does anything. But yeah, and then I get how long into the was it when I was changing we found out they were turning people away?
I think so, because he came back there, mm-hmm. and we were like, me and you were just ecstatic, like, golly, look how many people are out there.
And they were the wildest crowd. It was like an arena concert loud.
When we brought the scarves was great, but when we brought teddy bears out,
that was your idea, and that was genius.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I was Hail Mary in those babies.
It made me think of being at a baseball game whenever they bring out the shirt
t-shirt gun.
Freaks out, like we were like, man, it was so awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember when we were leaving, the guy that opened for us, we heard that he's like, everybody showed up for me. It's like, you opened, if they showed up for you, wouldn't they have left after we got on stage?
Yeah.
Because they were still turning people away as we were singing.
Yep. And I mean, it was in the papers and everything, and it said special guest, whatever. I don't even remember his name. But I remember he came to my house because he didn't even have the tracks. I had to give him the tracks. I had to burn him a CD of his set. And I was like, hey, man.
Jerry?
Maybe. Something like that. Terry, something. But I was like, hey, man, I'm doing that in my set. And he's like, yeah, but you have all these tracks. You can change yours. I can't. This is what I know. And I was like, yeah, but I'm giving you the tracks. It doesn't work that way, dude. Yeah. And like, I let him like practice on my, my system that I had borrowed from the radio station. Like, he was getting to rehearse with my stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, great. he wasn't a very nice guy.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, it wasn't like he was a professional by any means, but I mean, he did fine. He sounded
Oh, yeah.
okay.
He was
It
fine.
wasn't great, but I don't want to knock the guy either. So I mean,
No,
like I said, I don't even remember his name. But
it's not. It's just how
it
he
was the
thought.
way he carried
about it?
himself, you know.
Because
Like in my head, I was like this, and around you and like my family and stuff, I had big head about things. But when I was like talking to people after that show,
oh
like,
yeah,
I couldn't tell that I was a jerk. And back then, like I was like the little sweetie boy.
but it's like me and you knew, like we out of all the Elvises we heard, there was only one guy, like truly besides Cody Slaughter, there was only one other guy
Great
that
guy.
me and you were like, whoa, and that was the dude that sang Elton John at Tunica.
Oh, Dwight Eisenhower.
That dude, we were like, ooh,
Yeah,
he's
he
good.
was really good. Yeah,
He's really good. And Cody Slaughter was good.
and nice kid.
Oh,
Because
great.
he was a few years younger than us. I think he was like,
But he was the quintessential Elvis, 50s Elvis.
oh yeah,
6 foot tall.
I'm pretty sure he's still doing it.
Well, I remember I just came across a feed on my Facebook of the thing I sent you where he had a flyer at Fred's Fish House. So that was 2015.
Oh, okay.
So that was
I'm
2015.
I'm assuming he still does. I know he was in that Ultimate tribute that when after I quit, you know, Elvis Enterprises actually started like embracing the tributes and put on the contest every year. And I remember because right before I quit, we did that last show in West Plains, Missouri at a theater. Like you said, it was really creepy. They didn't promote it very well, like I thought they were going to.
We had 3 people. Woo!
Out of
And two of them were your mom and Chrissy.
No, that we had more because my aunt, my uncle came, your mom came.
That's true. So maybe
your
like
brother, your sister-in-law.
Maybe like 8 people, 8, 9. It was
there. I think there was 3 people we didn't know.
Okay, yeah, I know. When I say 3 people, I mean it was like.
But here's the kicker of all that. So the lady that ran the theater, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll put it on the radio. It'll be in the paper. Blah blah blah." So do the show. It's fine. Like, yeah, I knew I wasn't into it because if there's no crowd, it's hard to get into it. You're not getting that, give and take.
Right.
You need that feedback from the audience that lets you know you're doing a good job. And like when I hear my mom going, "That's my baby," like that's not real. Like I could do that at her house,
Yeah.
So we did the show, and then as we're leaving, I'm like, "Hey, give me my money." These people start walking in. They're like, "Hey, we were at this birthday party next door, and we heard Elvis music playing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just did a whole concert." And they were like, "We didn't know anything about it. We would have came." And then like more people was like, "What's going on? The doors are open." I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy just did an Elvis show." And they're like, "We didn't know anything about it." Nobody in the town knew anything about it. And
Right.
also on top of that, they were doing like some truck and tractor pull at the Civic Center down the road. So it was like, "Oh, great. You could have told me that was in town and we could have booked this another day." But It was my last show. I was 23. I'm 36 now, so it's been 13 years since I've done a full-blown Elvis concert. And it seems like every other year around this time, I text Jimmy and I'm like kind of thinking about getting back into it.
Dude,
Because I still sing Elvis. Like I never like lost the chops or whatever. But it's just a lot.
It's like everybody's like, "So you were managing Tommy?" It's like, no. Tommy managed Tommy.
Tommy was managing Tommy. I was sending all the emails. I was handling all the business.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It's like I managed everything around it. I was the backer for a while.
Yeah.
which I would have gave up all my paycheck. I didn't care. We were having a blast.
Yeah.
Like there was a few shows that we felt like rock stars, like literally. And like when we did the show for what's her name for at Big Creek Golf Course.
Oh yeah. Lucinda, shout out.
Lucinda.
My youngest goes to school with her granddaughter.
Wow. Like as soon as she seen my face, she's like, it was her surprise party.
Yeah.
As soon as she seen my face, she's like, "Oh, Tommy's here." And we were like, "Oh man." It just ruined the whole thing. It's like I didn't know that I had to hide. Like I forgot that I was part of the show. You know what I mean? Like,
and I was just doing it just to do it, just to kind of like get out there, because that was like kind of when we first started doing it.
Yeah,
we had done a few things, but no, because that was after Branson, because I had the outfits already,
and then because the Branson stuff was great, all that was great, but the biggest show at the biggest venue we ever did was Tunica.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
Here's where we were sandwiched in between. The night before us was Snoop Dogg. The day after us was Cheech and Chong. And
I still to this day tell people I opened for Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, we closed for Snoop and opened for Cheech and Chong.
I headlined over Snoop Dogg, and like 3 or 4 days before Olivia Newton-John was there.
Yeah, and
maybe it was after. I don't remember.
And that hotel's not even open anymore.
Yeah, Harrah's. Yeah, that was crazy. That one was like one of those legit contests that I got kind of roped into, kind of talked into by the lady that was running it. And I didn't realize how, I mean, I knew it was a big deal because obviously it's in a casino, but like I didn't realize how big of a deal and how many good people, and I didn't realize how crooked I've talked about that. I actually made that into a YouTube short, how the Elvis Tribute Artist community is crooked. Like it's not legit, like at all. Like there's certain people who judge it, and the messed up thing is I was Facebook or MySpace friends with one of the judges. Yeah. But like we didn't, she didn't know me. Like she just saw that I sang Elvis, and that's why, she added me. And like, I was like, oh yeah, I know her. Like I should be good, And I finally like, I didn't win. I was bummed, but like, I got it,
Well, it's like,
obviously Cody won, I believe. Right.
Yeah. But it's like, we know why you didn't win. And voice was like 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Voice, yeah, I got the score sheet. I emailed the lady. I was like, hey, you happen to like have like the judges scoring, because I'd just like to know, and mine was mainly because I was short, and then remember that one was costume, because he didn't have a jumpsuit, right? It's like we were rolling awesome stuff though. Those shirts were legit, but I didn't ever say like I'm Elvis on stage. Like I never like. I'm glad you're going into this, because that's exactly where I wanted to go. And at this contest, there were guys that, I mean, they were dressed like Elvis surgery. When we were doing sound check. They were dressed to the nines, and I'm like, what in the world? Remember what is going on? I mean, there are a few that wear wigs and stuff, but which I never did. It was always my real hair, always my real side. Yeah. But do you remember that one dude? We were looking at him, and he had he thought he was Elvis. Yeah. And we were looking at him, and then we found out that he had hair plugs, full facial reconstruction surgery. Yeah. We were like, "What are you doing?" And makeup on top of that. And makeup on top of it, and it looked like a wax figure of Elvis walking around. And that was the main thing. Like you brought it up earlier, the Legends thing. That was the main reason why I didn't ever try to do that anymore, because they wanted me to get plastic surgery. And I mean, I would have been fine wearing lifts in my shoes, but of course, I'm not doing anything to my face. Like that's strange. Like I don't get that. You had
you had enough of the look down,
especially with makeup.
yeah, where you didn't need it.
Yeah. Which
I mean,
my mom did the first couple of times, did my makeup for me, and then I got the hang of it.
which
But I mean,
but,
I always
man,
dyed my own hair, like all that stuff. And
I just-
I was doing that in beginning of high school.
oh yeah. But the best, like, out of all the shows and everything, but still the best times we had was rehearsing in your mom's living room. In your
Oh,
mom's
yeah.
living room,
That
we
was,
would do like 3-hour sets.
yeah. And I mean, I was doing like full shows. Like it wasn't
yeah.
just like I'm just singing a song here and there. I would rehearse the whole show for weeks and weeks and months before I had anything even scheduled. Like I wanted it to be down. And there's 2 songs that I wanted to bring up because Elvis always messed them up too. And I only did both of them a handful of times. I Just Can't Help Believing and Burning Love. Burning Love is one of my favorite songs, but live, for whatever reason, it doesn't work because Elvis messed it up and I messed it up every single time.
How tired and how tired were you at the end because you had to wave your hands around in circles, honka honka burning love.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like, and Tommy didn't just sing; he was all out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that was the best part about it, is you were all out at all times. Well, the West Plains show, we were like, meh.
Yeah. But even then, I always tried to do, I mean, obviously I had my standards, but I always tried to do a handful of songs at every show. I remember West Plains, the last show, that was the first time I ever did Baby, What Do You Want Me to Do? And I was so excited to do it, and it was perfect.
But still, Kentucky Rain is, man, that song is, I think, the best you've ever done. It's my personal, because it's my favorite Elvis song. Kentucky Rain is just amazing, dude. Still to this day, every time I hear it, man, it brings chills to my, down my spine, because that's the song.
Gonna say up your thigh.
Huh?
I thought you were gonna say up my thigh.
I mean,
I didn't know I had that effect on you, buddy.
That music does things to you, brother. You don't know what's gonna happen, but man, it's still some of the funnest times of my life.
Yeah,
and it doesn't even.
Suspicious Minds will always be my favorite because of all the moving, the arms and stuff. And that was always the song that my hair would get messed up, and I would really start sweating. I just lost an earbud. And then Hurt, obviously, vocally, that's my be all end all. Like if I can hit that note at the end, because I always did the live track. If I could hit that big one at the end, I knew, and I always put that towards the end of the show. But then I would have a break, because I knew I had that big note at the end of Cannot Fall in Love at the end of the show, that I was like, I have to be able to hit that, because that's the last thing they're going to hear other than the outro. And if I don't hit that, I look like a giant clown.
But it's like, no matter what song you sing, it was that one time you sang Hurt, and you looked at me like, it's not going to be good, brother.
That was one of the Branson shows too. And that's why I can't believe I moved on even in that contest, because it was awful. And then I couldn't get back into it. I was in my head.
Yeah.
And that night I did Burning Love too and messed that up. Because we did, what did we do? 5 songs a piece?
Something like that. Yeah.
I opened with Burning Love. I did the 70s concert version of Jailhouse Rock, the fast pace. And we were dancing to the Jailhouse Rock with me. And then I did Hurt. And then I did, I can't remember. I think, did I close with Hurt? That might have been one of the times I did American Trilogy, because that was another song I didn't do a ton. Not that I don't like it. I love that song. But I mean, I just thought that Elvis's voice on that is beyond, you can't touch it.
I mean, you rolled it in Calico Rock and everybody started crying. So
yeah.
There is. I did it in the Moose your head Lodge. On that one.
Yeah. The Moose Lodge I did, because I knew there were a lot of veterans there, so I made sure to do it. And that, had the flag and everybody took their hats off. It was kind of like the Elvis national anthem kind of thing.
It was powerful, but Hurt, man, that still runs through my head as just looking at you, because we and you both know, like, if you don't hit this note, it's over. That's why nobody sings this song.
Yeah, it's a
How
tough
many
one.
people? I don't know if I don't think of any of the Elvises we ever watched. Nobody sang that song.
I mean, they do it, but I don't like, as far as like contests we were in, I think I was the only person that did it.
But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And you always
if I had a crowd, even if I goofed a line, I would always end strong.
Always.
So,
then you also got.
What's up? Sorry.
I was gonna say, the one song that always saved us most of the time was CC Rider. CC Rider was a good savior.
Oh yeah, and that was I don't think I ever opened with "That's All Right." Maybe one. Obviously it was Elvis week. This is kind of wrapping up. They did the vigil last night. I watched part of that. They did a special thing for Lisa Marie. I watched that. They did a panel, kind of like a tribute to her, which, I mean, that was an awful day. I felt like I lost a sister, honestly, you know.
Right.
And then they did a panel with Linda Thompson. I didn't know she'd never been to Elvis Week before.
Wow.
Which was super cool. And she talked about when she was married to Bruce Jenner. It was pretty funny. And then they did the Aloha thing. And I mean, they do 9 days now. I didn't realize they did it that long.
Oh, wow.
We got a comment from, I'm assuming, a new subscriber. 46 years ago, we all lost him so young. Elvis Presley is a legend. He would never be forgotten. And beyond 2023, thank you. Keep him update with new fans around the world. Absolutely. I love that, you know, obviously my kids know him. 2 of my 3 kids have been Elvis for Halloween. But, you know, it's pretty cool when, you know, my kids tell their friends that I used to sing Elvis, like professionally. Like I did concerts. And it's pretty cool that they know who it is, even though he's been gone now for 46 years. And I mean, my youngest is 10, and like his friends all know who Elvis is. And I mean, you know, obviously, I mean, for the rest of time, people are going to know who Elvis was.
Yeah. How many people don't know Elvis?
I'm sure there's kids somewhere that don't know who Elvis is.
Well,
but I mean, it'd be hard to find.
It's like, I've never met one. You know what I mean? Like, I've never met anybody in my life that doesn't know who Elvis is.
So before we go, I want you, because we mainly talked about our experiences, you know, traveling. And there's more stories, but I want your favorite Elvis moment ever, of everything that you like, everything that he did, whether it be a movie or an album or a song, or, I mean, you said Kentucky Rain, but like your favorite Elvis moment.
Oh, I've got it. I've been watching it like for the past 3 weeks because it cracks me up. It's the time where the 4 people got on stage and he kicked some butt. and he said some choice words. That's one of my favorite Elvis ever, because everybody always used to make fun of him for doing karate. Like, you didn't realize he really could do
legit
karate.
Did karate. Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite things. If anybody doesn't know, it was in Vegas. There was.
Are you talking about the time when he was reading, or he was talking about the article he read about himself, and if anybody says anything, it's harmful to me, it's harmful to my family, it's harmful to my little daughter, and if you say anything else, I'm gonna rip your tongue out by the effing roots? Well, because that was a different time from when he fought people on stage.
Yeah, this one is it was that girl got on stage, just walked across the stage and just grabbed the scarf from him. And you know, he just
Luda's got a good one.
He just stood there and just looked at him. And then then the other 4 people started to approach him, and then all the bodyguards and everything got 2 of them, and the one guy got to Elvis, and Elvis karate chopped him and did some karate moves and kicked his butt. And then he said some choice words afterwards. If like, that's probably one of my favorites.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks for being here.
But there's so many. Like,
yeah, I mean, I know my favorite Elvis movie is Girl Happy. Love that one always. I like some of the songs on there. Favorite song is obviously Suspicious Minds. My favorite performance, it would probably be Hurt, the 77 in concert. Although the Unchained Melody is pretty hard to beat.
It's
and that was my favorite part of the Elvis movie that came out, was that they actually went and, kind of recreated that, even though Austin Butler, the guy that played Elvis, looks like my middle son's best friend. I was like, holy crap, I need to get him a freaking jumpsuit and teach him the ways, And there's still hope for little Tommy. He thinks Elvis is cool. We were watching Saturday night, because I've been just Elvis mode for the last 2 weeks, and it's actually been kind of fun because I'll listen to it in the car, like Sirius. I listen to Elvis radio a lot, and actually little Tommy
right.
Little Tommy will request Elvis radio when we're in the car. So, that's cool. I have hope for him. Maybe he'll ask me if I can help him learn how to do it someday. But
you just brought up another moment.
It's hard for me personally, it's hard to beat Aloha from Hawaii. I got to go back to it because I didn't talk about it as much as I want to, but I did link it, the anniversary special edition. And I love in the alternate Aloha, actually, because I prefer it because Elvis messes up a lot more than he did on the satellite concert, the actual show that they showed on television. And the alternate
billion.
On the alternate, at the end of Cannot Fall in Love, and the closing theme hits, and you're going to see it when we go out of here. But he drops to a knee, shows the back of the cape, and then spins around. It literally probably the coolest Elvis has ever been. And if you stick around to the end, you're going to see it, because I've got an outro video planned up, just like the intro, not as long. It's only like 29 seconds. But Jimmy, if you don't have anything else,
we could go on forever.
Yeah. And like I said, we'll see how the numbies look, because they'll roll in. Obviously people don't watch a ton live, especially long form things. So I expect, tomorrow and in the next week, and I'll get with you. Maybe we'll start doing this once a month. I think it would be fun. Maybe we go back and forth and pick an album or a movie or something, and we review it.
And maybe I'll have a better phone, so I don't look like I'm actually from 77.
And maybe my kid won't come in and steal the block that the ring light was plugged into, and now I'm in the shadows. And yeah, and maybe even like, I don't know, we can figure it out. But yeah, so check Jimmy out though. Yeah, check Jimmy out on Guitar Pirates podcast. Awesome. I'm not even just saying this because he's my friend. I think it's a fun podcast to listen to. Him and Josh do great. I wish and I hope that eventually they bring it back to YouTube, because I personally like to watch my podcasts. But that's just me.
I've got the thorn in the side, brother. Trust me.
and I hope, like I said, I hope this does well. And if it does, I want to have Jimmy back. I'd love to do just an Elvis show with Jimmy one month. I think that would be fun. Weekly, that's pushing it, because we're both busy people, and I've got 45 podcasts already. But I think it would be fun, and
absolutely,
we'll see how we do. But anyways, at Guitar Pirates Podcast on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. I don't think they do Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I don't do it anymore either, because once it changed, I was like, this is weird. And then Jimmy, you can find him at Jim Steger, Steger. period 33. Here, I'll put that up here for him. So you can follow him on Instagram. It's Jim, right? On Instagram.
It should be. Since
so.
my iPhone blew up, I haven't been able to get on
gotcha.
any of that stuff. Yeah.
There's Jimmy's Instagram. And then by the way, if you are new here, thank you so much. Make sure you sign up. Patreon.com/heels and quads. If I get enough Elvis people in there, I will do a special weekly hangout for Elvis fans. Like and we can talk about whatever you want to do or whatever you want to talk about. We can listen to Elvis music together, whatever you want to do. We can make it a party. Then there's the podcast Instagram handle, and then obviously Facebook. You just type it in the search and it'll show up. It's not hard to find, like Guitar Pirates, like, you know, it's not like that's anywhere else.
It should
It's
be
pretty
the
genius.
first thing that
It's like heels and quads. Like, who else is going to think about that? But
Yeah.
you know, we used to be a wrestling show, so whatever. I'm glad I got out of that because it's so diluted now. But anyway, so again, thank you, Jimmy, for joining me. I appreciate it. It was fun to go back down memory lane. I'm probably going to get yelled at from my wife for letting the kids not shower yet, but they refuse to do it if I don't remind them several hundred times.
Amanda can yell at me.
Yeah, she can. I
It's my
will
fault.
text her and be like, it's Jimmy's fault. We start talking about the old days, and you know how that goes.
It never stops.
Yeah, because the last time I remember hanging out, well, we hung out at Cameron's house, and then before that, you came to when we lived in a townhouse, and me and Jimmy. Well, I mean, I was drinking beer, but me and Jimmy sat up like all night and played MLB The Show,
which we would if I came over tomorrow, we would probably play.
I'm a lot better at it now too.
We would play MLB.
I've live streamed Road to the Show a few times on the channel.
I'm rocking 2015. So
I haven't got 23. I still have 22, but I've played 23.
I got a PS3 because I have to play NCAA football, and I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you over to the house. I got a PS5, baby.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, the kids have a PS5. That was a gift from my dad. Anyways, again, I can't believe 46. I mean, I can believe because he was amazing, and nobody will ever forget him. But 46 years ago, I mean, I wasn't even born yet. I'm 10 years after Elvis died. And I mean, I thought I was one of the biggest fans in the world. And clearly I'm not, because I can go in and out, but it's like riding a bike, because when I can be out of it for years, and then I can hear a certain song. Like yesterday, we had to go grocery shopping at Walmart, and on the way there and back, it was Elvis radio, because I was just trying to get amped up for tonight. And also tonight I'm going to watch the Reinventing Elvis special on Paramount Plus. I want to plug that too, because I want everybody to watch it. I heard it's really good. It's all the behind the scenes stuff from the 68 special with the director and all that stuff. But yeah, the whole way, like especially the way back, because I dread going grocery shopping, but the way back I was excited because I was done. And like I was singing songs that I hadn't heard in 15 years probably, and I knew every word. And I was like, holy crap, this is still like ingrained in my mind, that I remember every lyric. And like random live versions would pop on, and I'd be like, yeah, I know this one. Like I could say like a little goofy joke, which I mean, I know he was kind of basic dad jokes most of the time, but
it's like every time I hear the sentence "rain in my shoe," I think of you looking at me, pointing at your shoe at every show. Like that is ingrained in my head, because we would always do that. There's rain in my shoe.
I mean, we've been to Graceland together. We did shows together. Like, it's pretty crazy. My kids haven't even been to Graceland. I got to take them. Amanda's never been either. I got to take her too.
Did you know, and I'm sure anybody else probably, I didn't know, before service hours, you can walk down.
Yeah.
and go to the garden, the memorial garden. I did not know that. I mean, I've been watching, this is crazy how all this worked out. I've been watching nothing but Elvis and 50s music the past 3 weeks anyway.
I know. Yeah, we were talking about that before we started. I'm like, that's weird. I just thought about like texting you yesterday and being like, hey, you want to do an Elvis special with me?
But I've been watching YouTube videos of people at, the Graceland, because I just like to see how it's updated now after Lisa Marie and everything. And then I was watching this guy walking down the driveway. I'm like, how is he doing that? You know what I mean? I'm like, how is he walking down the driveway? And then he's like, yeah, it's open for hours. It's before it opens, the gates are wide open. You can just walk down the driveway to the memorial garden. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah,
because security's security's high during the morning time,
so that's something we got to do.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I want to take the family down. You could go with us and be cool.
I have family.
Well, duh. You're like my brother.
It's like no matter how long we go without talking, nothing
like
changes.
Yesterday.
Yeah, nothing changes.
9 times out of 10 we tell the same freaking stories.
Well, we always tell the same stories. What are you talking about?
I mean, we have stories obviously we won't share on YouTube or podcast.
Oh, we got more stories. I got more stories with you than I have with anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. It felt like we all lived together for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But anyways, I got to wrap it up. I keep saying it, but I'm wrapping it up this time. I just want to say thank you to the Elvis fans for subscribing to the channel. Thank you, Jimmy, for showing up. I was getting kind of worried because for some reason my texts weren't going through, but thank God for Snapchat, even though I usually hate that freaking app. But
yeah, I don't use it.
I mean, everybody follow me on social media at Heels and Quads everywhere. Facebook, you can follow us there. You can watch the show when we go live on Facebook. I don't really post a ton. I know this was on Twitch as well. I don't know how that did. I only see one number, so I don't know each platform where it is. But if you enjoyed it, if you want more Elvis, if you want more me and Jimmy telling stories, like this video, subscribe, comment, bell notification. I'm not going to say smash it or anything like that, like the kids say, because it's like nails on a chalkboard. But anyways, thank you. And most importantly, thank you, Elvis, for all of the music, the memories, for what you did for me. Helped basically, I didn't have a dad around every day, so that was kind of like my escape from whatever I was dealing with. And even though I had a ton of friends and a great group of really close friends like Jimmy, Elvis was something that it was mine. And it always will have a special place in my heart, even if I don't ever do it again. But never say never. I hope it'll happen. I'm going to make it happen. As long as I have a breath in my body, I'm always going to say, I'm going to do it again at least one more time. So I don't know when that will be, but when we do it, hey, now we can live stream it.
Mm-hmm.
So people around the world can watch it. Anyways, thanks again. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Love you, brother. And hope this does well. And if it does, man, we're going to run the Elvis content into the ground. All right. On that note, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.
Elvis has left the building. Thank you and good night.